From Julio Cruz and Gaylord Perry to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds to father and son back to back bombs. From Junior J, Joey, and Edgar with Randy, A Rod, Dan, and the Sheriff to Ichiro Moyer and Mikey C to King Felix, Kyle Cruz, and Cano to the present with Julio, Gilbert, Kirby, and Cal. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my, it's another. My oh my, it's another sports podcast. And my oh my, it's been a brutal couple of weeks for our beloved Seattle Mariners fans. Nonetheless, we still love this team. That's kind of how it rolls if you like the M's. But we'll rep it from Nashville, Tennessee with our super producer, Indy, rocking the ones and twos, the brains behind this podcast, the man who handles all the business for us. You know that I be kicking it up here in Little Lake Stevens, Washington, 36 miles north of the stadiums. And of course, my man, who's cooler than the other side of the pillow, RG. What's up, bro?
Say your attitude determines your latitude. Well, I'm high as a motherfucker, fly as a motherfucker. Still the motherfucker you love to hate, but can't because you like what I make. Now, ain't that about a bitch? And I'ma talk shit until we're out of hits. Kind of like the Mariners. But it's time to go to work.
Oh no.
Man, special episode today. It's always a blessing to have someone who's been with us rocking since the beginning. Even when me and Tyler used to kick it on the corner, now we rocking my oh my. It's another sports podcast brought to you by Vaden Podcast Services. I, I'm lucky when I get to meet like-minded people who think the same way, love talking baseball, love talking sports. Here to bring that energy back for his second appearance on the format. Please give it up for friend of the program, rocking with us off of Bleacher Report, my man Jerry B6. What it do, baby?
Let's go.
Man, you in here like swimwear, dog. Man, so last week we were suffering, dog, and just kind of looking for answers and walking around looking lost. And it's another week, and I still don't have a whole lot of answers to give. I don't know what the hell we up there doing in Seattle. But that
No,
lead we've had is even smaller than it was. We barely hanging on to that magical number that Jerry spit out during his infamous press conference at the end of the year. It's getting tough and it's getting ugly up here, but we're gonna stay true to the blue and try to hold it down as much as we can. Jerry, tell me what your thoughts are on how we've been performing and where we are over the last 2 weeks, man.
it's been shit. There's no other way to describe it any other way. It's been shit the last couple of weeks. I mean, the Indians, you gotta give it to them. They're number one in their division, so that's gonna be a tough one. Plus, playing in their stadium, it's it's been rough. Like it's our bats, they're not there. We don't have bats right now, and I mean, even Julio's batting average is starting to dwindle down a little bit, and that's what we were holding on to because he doesn't have the power numbers. He's not. He's got no slugging. Like I haven't even looked at what his slugging percentage is, but it's non-existent. And um, but yeah, it's been a humbling couple of weeks. Like I mean, bless our souls for getting to where we were before this skid that we're on right now. But I'm just hoping this is our low point. We've had a low point the last 2, 3, 4 years or whatever, and then we turned it around. And then we had our streak, whether it was the 14, 15 game streak or the pairs of 8 game streaks. Like hopefully this is the turning point, and hopefully this is the wake up call to the front office to let's make some real moves. We need those real moves to come into play. Like we need that Luis Castillo bat form move.
Man, it was interesting getting to see him get up there and at least pretend to take a hack or two. Ty, man, what you think about what we've been out here doing the last 2 weeks, bro?
Well, for starters, I couldn't agree with Jerry more on the Indians are a hell of a ball club. This is a team that might be able to take their shit to the World Series. And from my perspective, any good team wins 2 out of 3 games at home. That's what Cleveland did. All right, I'll give them their props. But then if I'm going to be lax on the road against good teams, you go to Florida, you play the Miami Marlins, you play the Tampa Bay Rays, you got to make it up. That's what you got to do. So we lose 2 out of 3 at Cleveland. We lose 2 out of 3 at Tampa Bay. We lose 2 out of 3 at Miami. Now check this out, fellas. You want to know how bad our hitting has been lately? So the Mariners have posted the best team ERA in the month of June at 3.12, but they also have the second worst batting average in June at 216. The only team hitting worse is those Miami Marlins who took it to us for 2 out of 3 games. And then we come back home. Yeah, Minnesota's good, but this is where I stand. Good teams win 2 out of 3 at home. We are scuffling. We are struggling. And a lot of fans think it's so obvious. I'm baffled though. And the one thing I'm going to look at is I looked at it just before the show started because Mitch Garver has a career 801 OPS. That's really, really damn good. He's almost 150 points below his career OPS. Jorge Polanco, 770 career OPS. That's really good in itself, also. He is almost 200 points below his career OPS. So, Jerry, I'm just baffled because whether we roll with unheard of dudes, whether we try to trade or sign proven guys, nothing is working right now.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, you can go back a few years ago, trading for Adam Frazier. Like I thought that was low key, amazing trade. Like I thought that was gonna be phenomenal. Adam Frazier coming off of a All-Star season, and he's a batting average type of dude, like contact guy. I thought he was gonna be phenomenal. Then pair him with Winker, like I I thought those were damn good moves. Like and then Gino, I mean, Gino was a throw-in, like contract eater, and he ended up playing really well. Like if Winker and Frazier would have played up to the back of their baseball cards, both of them coming off of All-Star seasons, like why wouldn't we have? Why wouldn't we have been contenders? I mean, I don't know what it is about coming to Seattle. Like, yeah, we make jokes about the Marine layer, but I don't know. Maybe there is some truth to it. The only thing I can think of is placebo effect. 'Cause, I mean, it's not like the other teams coming in here aren't hitting against us. Like they're hitting homers, but yeah, it's mind blowing. It's baffling. I can't find words to describe or even figure out what is going on with why the guys we bring in who are supposed to be studs don't play. Teoscar, he's another one.
Mm,
He's having a
mm.
phenomenal year right now. I mean, granted, yes, you put him in a lineup like the Dodgers lineup, he's protected and but still, like we saw flashes of Teoscar last year, and it's nothing what we got or what he's doing this year. Like even in those flashes,
Is it Adrian Beltre 2.0?
uh, something. Uh,
Man, just I remember being excited about Adam Frazier. I was screaming that we should sign him, especially like you said, coming off that All Star appearance. I thought that he could have definitely done more to help get us over the hump. Then you throw in Winker and low key 2 years ago, other than a man named Aaron Judge, Gino Suarez has the second most home runs in all of baseball over a 5 year span. So I was more than pumped, beyond pumped. And then, like you said, man, it's just something about when they get off the plane down there in SeaTac, they go over the crab pot, have one too many Dungeness crab, and then all of a sudden they forget how to play baseball, it seems like.
uh,
But yeah, man, just Like you said, if we can get some, if perform to what's on the back of your baseball card, we be fine. And this week could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for our captain Cal Raleigh bailing us out twice, back-to-back
Mhm.
games. Or we'd really be in here popping Tylenol, drinking beers, and having to hold each other up off the ledge. I want to give a shout out to the people rocking with us in the chat every week. As always, thank you for joining us live on Twitch and YouTube. Again, if you can't follow the live broadcast, you are able to download this show every Tuesday on whatever format you like to get your podcast from. My homie Tommy's asking, how serious is the Garver injury? I don't think there's an update on Garver's situation right now. I don't
Hey,
think we'll
RG,
know.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
is
nothing.
there?
let
Is
me
there?
interject. According to CBS Sports, huge
Okay.
shout out to Tommy. According to CBS Sports, X-rays are negative. X-rays are negative for Mitch Garver, so he's considered a day-to-day injury. It probably comes down to swelling and pain tolerance. But even though he's been struggling, Jerry made a great point off the air that he is leading the team in walks. He actually has a respectable on base percentage. But according to CBS Sports, x rays are negative. So thank God we don't have to bring my boy Sebi Zavala back.
All right. So it is. Okay. Good. 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 And I know how you feel about Zabby, so we ain't gonna go
You
there.
want some Zevi? You want some Zevi back in your life?
Please no.
Yeah,
Please,
he was a
shout
little
out
bit of
to
a
the
struggle.
homie Tommy. Shout out to the homie Tommy. He says, "Let's fucking go." Now let's trade it.
Come on now, Tommy's one of our best hitters or
he's
batters.
seeing.
Batters,
He's
best
seeing the
batters.
ball well. He's
Yes.
seeing the ball well. That's why he's drawing so many walks. It's
Eh,
just to see the ball that well, walk that many times, and yet when it's come time to put bat to the ball, it's just not going the way that it
I
wants to. It's like the
I
worst
will
of both worlds.
yeah, I will say though, when he does hit the ball, it looks so effortless. Like when he hits his home runs, it is just a flick of the wrist. Just fucking out of here. I love it. I love watching him hit home runs though.
So you just need a lot more of them. Need to catch up
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Aaron
yeah.
Judge's numbers.
Yeah, no, he needs at least 15 more in the next 2 weeks.
Jeez, but at least,
Maybe
like
a
you
week.
said, true, true. But at least he's going to avoid the major injury. But Ty, what else you thinking, man? What else you thinking?
Well, you know how a lot of times I like to divide up the season? Because you're basically, to me, it's like, how can you get to 90 wins? Do I want more? Obviously. But my first task of business in baseball is how the hell are you going to get to 90 wins? So let's look at it this way. When I divide up home and road, if you win 2 out of 3 at home, which the Mariners surprisingly have won exactly 2 out of 3 games at home so far this year. Then, if you win 2 out of 3 at home, you only need to go 500 on the road, and that'll get you to 96 to 97 wins. 96, 97 wins, we would all be thrilled for us to get there. The problem is we're doing great at home, but we're only winning 43% of our road games, which makes it just puts so much pressure on your team to win at home. We have to find a way to win some of these road games. I know it's tough because our hitting sucks no matter where we're playing right now, it seems like. But we absolutely have to find a way to scratch out more road wins. And then, like I said, especially when you're playing some bottom dwellers in Florida, like, come on, man. We got to get something done down there. I'm just looking at a little bit of the baseball rankings because I like to do this because the hitting across Major League Baseball is so overwhelmed for the most part. For the most part, the Mariners are 27th in runs per game. We've struck out the most in the league. 25th in on base percentage. We have the worst average in baseball, and we're 26th in OPS. And just from my eye test, Jerry, tell me what you think about this. But when I'm just watching, my eye test tells me I don't know if I've ever seen a major league team foul off or completely whiff on center cut meatballs. These guys, like, this is Major League Baseball, and this is the best pitching we've seen since 1968. When they give you a meatball, you got to rip the shit out of that thing, and we are just hitting foul balls up to the press box every time. Man, we got to capitalize, and obviously it is not happening.
Yeah, I got no explanation for it. I was hoping all these problems were gonna go away with the exiting of the green box from Branch or Brant Brant Brown. Yeah, Brant Brown. I was hoping this was all gonna go away with him and his method, and it's I. I'm with everyone. I'm with everyone sitting there on the couch watching these pitches come down the pipe, and we're fouling it off or just watching it go by. And I'm like, why? Why? Square it up, swing at it, do something with it. Like that is a gift. Take it and cash it in, please.
Mhm.
And that, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is with our methodology or what our coaching is doing or our offensive strategy going into the game. I mean, okay, I truly don't believe coaching has that much to do with our success or lack thereof success on the team as far as hitting goes. Like when it comes down to it, it's the player in the box. He's up to bat against a pitcher, and it's up to him to make contact with his bat to the ball, like wherever the pitcher puts it. And so I don't know what's going on. It's frustrating. I'm with everyone on that. We It does seem like we leave a lot down the middle to chance.
It's like that person that
Man,
eats one bite of their chicken wing, bro. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
And then
know
you
somebody like that.
they they didn't eat the good spot. They ate down towards the little nub at at the short end.
Hey, wasting good chicken wings when there's a starving guy in Albuquerque who would love them at some chicken wings right now. Want to give a shout out to users on the chat following us and being a part of our conversation. New users, though, give a shout out to you. Thanks for joining us. Looks like Ginger Fit Dad. You have to look at the hitting coach philosophy of the team. Players come here and can't hit. Been like that for years. But why is that though? Why is it just wash and repeat? It's always wash and repeat. We get someone off the bus, should have come here to put up some gaudy numbers. They come and perform against us, and then they put on that Mariner uniform, and like all of a sudden they can't do shit anymore. And shout out to Sunday Evening Media. Been rocking with us for a couple of weeks. I'd love to see us trade Garver and Polanco and let Locklear DH and put Bliss at second base regularly. Not mad at it, man. Not mad at it. Locklear came up and looked like he was built for this moment and came in roping the ball. And Bliss just that speed and the things that he brings to our office, man. I love to see the man get a shot more, but I know it's kind of hard to for me to put the unproven guy over Polanco, but Polanco hasn't really done enough. I don't know. I don't know if he's done enough to keep his job. Ty, man, what you got?
Huge shout out to the people on the live chat, man, because y'all give us some great food for thought. And Ginger Fit Dad, man,
Hmm.
great minds think alike, I guess. And I'm not gonna say that I know it's the hitting coach because Jerry's right. The players got to perform, but something is being lost in translation here, obviously. So I want to go back a little bit in time here as a Mariners fan. 2015 season, the team started out with a 233 average, scoring only 3.4 runs per game. On June 20th, at recording right now while we're speaking, it's June 30th, so we're only 10 days later than this said date. June 20th, they demoted the current hitting coach Howard Johnson and they hired legendary Edgar Martinez for the job. And in the next 94 games, the team started hitting 260 with 4.6 runs per game. So, an elite hitting coach can definitely make the difference. Now, there's a huge problem, though. So, I decided to look at the list of all the hitting coaches in Major League Baseball. Guys, I recognize maybe three or four names. I only recognize three or four names because I want someone with the credentials, with the pelts on the wall, with all the stats and knowledge to back up an Edgar Martinez type of resume. That guy is not being a hitting coach in baseball right now. And so a huge thing is as we know, in the 1990s, player salaries in all major pro sports exploded. And in the year 2024, they're higher than ever. Edgar Martinez put together $49.6 million of career gross earnings. He does not need to coach for a living. He walked away from the job of hitting coach because he didn't want the grind and wanted to spend time with his family. If I'm the Mariners organization, though, I am giving Edgar a godfather offer that he cannot refuse to come in and at least try to fix this thing because the proof is in the pudding. When he came into the exact same lineup mid-season, the team improved their average by 27 points and the runs per game went up 1.2. I know a lot of fans have clamored to me about Ichiro. Ichiro is a legend, one of my favorites, but I also think he would be a terrible hitting coach. And that's just because his discipline, his decision making to swing at strikes and balls was honestly terrible. But his extraterrestrial bat control was so special. We all saw it. He'd be swinging at pitches that were 1 inch off the ground, 2 feet offside, and put a little single between third and short. Guess what? I've only seen two guys in Major League Baseball in my lifetime that can successfully hit like that, and that's Vladimir Guerrero with power and Ichiro for singles. So I don't want that style of player coaching because I've only seen two guys do it. But that's just my food for thought, Jerry, is that I want Edgar, but I don't know if that's possible because star players are not hitting coaches in Major League Baseball right now.
Yeah, 100%. Ichiro is an anomaly. Like you can't replicate what he did. Not
Vlad,
be
Vlad
sweet with.
Guerrero either. Vlad Guerrero either. Me and my homies, we used to call him Little League because if there's anybody who resembled more of a Little League player was Vlad Guerrero Sr. Hat
Mhm.
always crooked, jersey and pants too big for him. Boy swing at anything, and it'd be, oh God, why are you? He just hit that thing 460 feet. Like like Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Ichiro, man, you can't. Yeah, you're absolutely right with those two. I wouldn't want them teaching anybody how to do shit. If it's like the old Baptist, like an old Baptist preacher,
That's
do as I say, don't do as I do. Because if you go up there and try to do that, you're just gonna make yourself look stupid.
yeah. They're
Yeah,
just pure
man.
natural ability.
Jeez, man. So I even took a look at Mark McGuire was a hitting coach for a couple years, and I don't see him around. Barry Bonds was even a hitting consultant for someone. You don't even see him around. So it's definitely hard for some of those guys who have all their money and don't need the day to day stress. And again, just because they were able to do it and you were able to be taught how to do something that just doesn't replicate the same and you being able to teach somebody else how to do it. Shout out to another user in the chat joining us, man. DJ Jimenez Jr. He throws up Bobby Avila for hitting coach.
I think he's talking about
Man,
Bobby Ayala.
Ayala Avila. I'm sitting here trying can't even read off my damn iPad. But again, thanks for joining us, DJ Jimenez Jr. Uh, thanks for being a part of the conversation. Ginger Fit Dad, oh yeah, Vlad is probably the best bad ball hitter ever. I'm telling you, you could bounce it 3 feet in front of the plate and he's gonna run up and Happy Gilmore that shit. Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's then talk solutions then. If we can't get Edgar to come back and be the hitting coach, and we're gonna have to rely on the staff that we have in place, is there anyone that we can go after? Or do we try to piece together? Do we need to go after Vlad Jr.? I, for one, would like to see us go after Luis Robert Jr., but he seems like the same type of player that we like. We'll go right after him, and the second he steps off the plane to SeaTac, he'll be injured for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Just
they're just gonna strike out at a crazy clip.
man, but we obviously need something. To me, it seems that we don't have enough as we're currently built. And it was nice for us to get up to that lead, but now we're starting to get caught up. And I said it off mic, the boogeyman is starting to come for us, and Houston has been rolling. Houston has been rolling. I know that Mariners lifer said Houston's been balling and he ain't scared. That championship pedigree, dog. There's just something about it. You don't have to be scared to get your ass kicked. I can tell you that from as long as I've lived. You absolutely do not have to be scared to get your ass kicked. And we were talking about numbers earlier. Yeah, we're 18 28 and 14 at home, but we are 19 and 25 away from T-Mobile Park, and against teams that we should be smoking, sub 500 teams, we're only 21 and 25 against them. Like I said, we're leaving a lot of meat on the bone. We're
Mm.
not dominating the way that we should. Thank God we got out to that lead, but by the end of this week, if we don't do something good, Houston's gonna have caught us. Houston's gonna have caught us. Do we sit and wait for ownership to do something, or are the guys gonna be able to figure this out? Do I need to start going and buying ibuprofen and Tylenol because my head about to hurt, man? What do we do?
Oh, you're about to be hungover. That's for sure. Uh, we need to make moves. 100%. We need to make moves. The roster. I mean, everyone, even the optimists like myself, we always say wait through May, see how the team's doing. Feel them out, let them get acclimated. We're bad. We're bad. We're bad after May. Like we're almost, or we are July now, or day before July.
Just a couple
We're
hours.
bad. Yeah, we're bad. We need bats. Like we need them. We need them now. Problem is, we don't know who the sellers are. We I would love, okay. Like this last off season, I've been screaming Yandy Diaz. That is my dude. That's the guy I've wanted him for years. Yandy Diaz. That's the guy I want. I would love to trade with Tampa Bay. Get Yandy. Sure, let's take a Rosarena just because we want that star power name. Plus, it's who knows? Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he needs to change the scenery. Maybe that'll turn it around for him. But I want Yandy Diaz. But
I
then
can ride with
again,
that.
yeah. But I mean, it's gonna cost a lot, obviously. But who knows? Who knows how it turns out? Like, I'd be if the Angels would trade with us, I would love Renhefo and Taylor Ward.
Yep.
I,
Yeah.
I think I think those would be two solid pickups that wouldn't cost too much, but I don't think the Angels are gonna trade with us.
Us trading with the Angels is like trying to get the Hatfields to trade with the McCoys, dog. It ain't gonna go down like that. They
Exactly.
they still salty at Jerry.
Yeah.
Shout out to Texas Power Ranger. You need to be you need to get ready for more of the same over there in the 54% club. I got a question for you, Texas Power Ranger. How's Jacob DeGrom working out for you? So let's go
Oh,
on ahead and keep it moving.
all five
Uh,
starts.
All 5 stars, baby. Hey. Yeah, Sunday evening media, he's got our back. He said, "Aren't you guys 8 games back?" Well, I gotta be honest, Sunday evening media, if we keep playing like shit, they're gonna close that gap as well too. And even from looking at the standings, it just doesn't seem that the AL the path to the playoffs out of the AL West is gonna be division winner. None of us are gonna qualify for the wild card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely need to find a way to stay in this mix, and it's definitely going to get interesting around the way. So you threw out Yandy Diaz, you threw out a Rosarena. I would like to see Luis Roberts. The two players from the Angels, as good as they might fit with us, Jerry's not going to be able to make a deal with it. So we need to go in and scratch that out. And then, like I'm saying off mic too, if you look at the National League standings, there's too many teams that are still in the race. So it's hard to see who's going to be buyers or sellers here in the next 30 days unless something drastically happens once we get back from the All-Star break in Texas.
So I guess we need to decide: are we willing to overpay to make something happen?
Well,
We'll
what's an
see how we
overpay
can.
though?
I
Let's
mean,
go back just 2 years, guys. I mean, a lot of baseball fans and baseball analysts criticize the Luis Castillo trade for being a possible overpay, and none of those guys have done anything. And it's been a couple of years. We'll see what happens with. I can't even remember his name now because he's been suspended the entire season.
Marte,
Yeah,
Novelvi.
there you go. Yep, there you go. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Bleacher Report just a day or two ago, very recently, put out their top 10 trade suggestions for teams that need to improve coming down the stretch. And they actually had maybe my favorite target, Brent Roker from the A's, going to Kansas City. They had Randy Arozarena coming to Seattle. But I just want to put this in perspective. To get Brent Roker, it would cost Kansas City their third, sixth, and ninth prospects in their system. I would do that in a second if I was the Mariners. And there's a couple of reasons here. And it's not just because I want this team to win, but I'm also looking to the future. Is I don't think there's any way in hell that we're going to be able to re-sign Logan Gilbert and George Kirby.
Mm.
Too
Yeah,
expensive.
that's
Too
probably fair.
expensive, man. Nola just got like 160 million guaranteed this offseason. Fast forward 2, 3, 4 years. Both of the Mariners pitchers are better than Nola, in my opinion. They could easily be scratching each 200 million guaranteed. The Seattle Mariners are not going to pay both those guys that top market dollar. So I figure go for it, man. You have these kind of guys at the front of the rotation that can win you short series, or else we can just try to be the 54% team and let all these prospects develop and kind of dip our toes in the water, but never actually dive into the swimming pool.
We were promised by ownership that they would come out and spend money to get us to what we were going to do. Then we end up with the Root Sports fiasco. Then it's obvious that Jerry and Justin's hands were tied during the offseason and couldn't go do the things that they may have wanted to be able to do. And I'm all for team camaraderie. I think that Cal Raleigh's a great leader. I think that JP Crawford is good for a clubhouse. I'm not sure where we begin to then fix some of the problems that Julio is having. And he's smoking the ball. He's smoking the ball in some of his at bats. It just so happens he just happens to keep smoking it right into someone's glove. Just when is the turnaround going to happen for him? And then he goes to putting up numbers. But I'm telling you, right now, it looks like 206, 8 home runs, and 20 RBIs is par for the course to be a Mariner right now. And I just don't think that that's going to get it done as we get ready to enter into July and then start the battle after we all come back from Texas in a couple of weeks. But the only thing that I know for sure I can do is pick up my phone every day, 5 times a day, and vote for Cal to make the All Star team because that dude's playing out of his fucking mind. And again, if it wasn't for two of his heroics again this week, that lead might be 1.5 against Houston.
Mm.
Well, come on, man. Just something has to give. Something has to give. Jerry, what else you think, bro?
No, you're on it, man. I mean, something's got to give, and if it weren't for Cal, we'd probably not be Mariners fans right now. Like this last week would have derailed everything that we had going for us. But I see was it Tommy over here in the chat. I kind of like where his head's at. I mean, sign the arms and try and get the bats to come through the farm. Like, I mean, based on our rankings and our young guys, it looks like we do have some very promising bats coming up.
Mm.
Unfortunately, it's not this year. And unfortunately, this year, it feels like it was the perfect year for us to just run away with the division, and we're blowing it. I don't know.
Definitely starting to fall back to earth. Definitely starting to fall back
Hmm.
to earth. Still a lot of baseball to be played. So we're not
There is.
hitting the panic button. We're not giving up hope. I don't know about you. I'm true to the blue, 10 toes down. I've lived through a lot worse. I've lived through a lot worse as a Mariner fan. So this ain't no new shit to me. This is just what we're going to have to suffer through in order to be able to get to where we want. If you thought this was going to be easy, you were out of your fucking mind. Nothing easy happens to those boys in Seattle. Even
Nope.
2001, the easiest year that there's ever been to be a Mariner fan, ended in disappointment. So again, just stay locked in, stay cheering, stay by your TV. We'll see what they got for us, so we come to move forward, man. Ty, I know
Same.
you itching. I know you itching over there, bro. What you got for me?
Well, just another huge shout out to everyone on the chat line, man, because y'all get my brain rolling out here, and I absolutely love it. Everyone's bringing great comments, bringing great ideas, and I know RG feels me on this one. We want to make this the most interactive show in this business. We are not just happy. We are thrilled to have y'all get in here like this. And Ginger Fit Dad, get someone from Driveline and have them be the hitting coach. Shit, I think that's a pretty damn good idea, especially when we just alluded to the most famous hitting coach in Major League Baseball is Kevin Seltzer, for Pete's sakes. You have to be a born in the 80s diehard baseball fan to even know that dude, and he was the most famous person on the list I was reading. So you're going to have to think outside the box. So that will be freaking awesome. I'm also wondering, Tommy's saying that maybe we sign Kirby and Gilbert long term and rely on the farm for bats. That, it breaks my heart. It pisses me off and it kind of frustrates me. But realistically, that might be our best window to actually win a World Series. So I know none of us want to wait. We've all been waiting forever. But like RG said, man, we've had some tough years as Mariners fans. We were the first baseball team to spend $100 million only to lose 100 games. So this shit ain't nothing new, but we got to get something going here because you want to know how bad it's been lately, fellas. In the last 8 days, Julio's batting 069. Ty France is at 148. Polanco's at 211. Rojas at 125. Garver at 190. And Canzone at 125 the last 8 days. The only guys holding it down are Luke Rayleigh and JP Crawford. Shocked me that he's hit 280 the last 8 days. And Luke Rayleigh is literally the best player on the team right now. As much as I love him, that shit needs to change for us to go where we want to go. I want to hear both your guys' thoughts on this really quickly. So, absolutely, I don't think Julio should be in the All Star game, but the Home Run Derby is absolutely a show. It's a showcase, it's for the fans. Julio is good for the business of baseball when he is in that Home Run Derby. It has been freaking awesome to see him, not just Seattle fans. You saw those national commentators from ESPN blown away when he was up there hitting jack after jack. RG, you just mentioned that he's been hitting the ball hard. On the broadcast today, they brought up the stats, and Julio's hard hit rate is over 9% higher than the league average. So maybe they can get him in the home run derby and God, it kills me to say this, get that launch angle going up a little bit. And maybe we see that power production come back because we all know there's another huge factor. We need Julio to play at least up to his baseball card for this team to do any sort of damage going forward.
I'll defer to Jerry because my opinion on that's not gonna be liked. I'll defer to Jerry first.
I would love for Julio to be in the home run derby as long as he doesn't hurt his wrist again. But seems like whenever he does it, he comes out hotter than before. And I would love to see some more of his August production from last year. So let's do it.
It's hard to look at what he did last year, and then like you said, to see the August he had where it did heat him up, and it goes forward from there. I might think that that is a one of one. The home run derby really doesn't help guys with their swings. Not in a large sample size and not in a large result base. Just from looking back and going back average. Um, you go to a guy like Bobby Abreu who killed it in the home run derby, and they couldn't hit shit after that. Josh Hamilton kills it in the home run derby, and where the fuck did Josh Hamilton end up after that? I don't think that us needing Julio to get into the home run derby for the business of baseball is what's important right now because the home run derby is not in Seattle. Last year, absolutely need him to be the face of what the Mariners have because the Midsummer Classic is just so happens to be in Seattle. I I don't know if I can get behind him being in it. I need him to work and he's still getting behind the ball. He's still hitting the ball hard the opposite way. It's just a couple unlucky plays that just, like you take the game in Miami the other day. Bases loaded, he's up, smokes the ball, hell of a play to be able to end it. If that ball is an inch more to the right of where it's at, everybody scoring, round the bases, little league style. I just don't know if it's worth sacrificing what he could become the rest of this year, or what we need him to be, um, just for some extra batting practice. If that's the case, just send him the drive line over the All Star break because he's not going to make the All Star team.
Mm.
Just send him somewhere where he can actually get work at. I don't know if the home run derby is the place for him to be able to figure that out at, but he definitely needs to figure something out. We need the production from him. We need the production from him. Like Neil said a couple weeks ago on his performance, on his stopping by and being a part of the show. When Dylan Moore is your best hitter, that's good for Dylan Moore. That's not good overall for the Seattle Mariners. For Luke Rayleigh to be as constant as consistent as he's been, that's good, but it's not what we need to be able to get us over there. And I just think that if Julio isn't going to be a starter on the All Star team, he should take that break, go spend a days, get his head right, and then head up to drive line and do some work on actually trying to put the ball back in play and find what it is that it takes. But I just don't think that the All Star break is the place to be able to get it done at.
Well, I just want to go quickly since we're talking about Julio here. And it's funny that it's come up on the live chat. RG will back me up on this. I said this in our group text a couple months ago, but I've literally not had the balls and I've been too scared to put it on wax. For
Let's
starters,
go. I'm ready
this
for
is
this.
not a
Let's go.
this is not an accusation, but this is a hypothesis. Now we know Novelvi Marte and Julio Rodriguez were really tight friends in the Mariners minor league system. Really tight friends. We know Noel V. Marte got popped for steroids this offseason and is serving an 80-game suspension for getting popped. Julio, we've seen an obvious power outage this year. Could it be that his best friend in baseball got popped and he decided he needed to get away from the juice? It I'm not talking shit, but let's be real about
Yeah,
it.
I hear it.
What There's a great book called Stealing Lives, an excellent book called Stealing Lives, and it's a lot of its basis is about young Dominican teenagers juicing up as teens, and if you make it as far as Cano or Cruz, if you stop, are you going to be a good baseball player anymore? Because your trainers have been having you do this since you were a teenager. Both those guys, I'm not spreading rumors, they were both, found guilty by Major League Baseball and served lengthy suspensions. And this is just my hypothesis. I see Mariners Lifer and Tommy are getting at it a little bit. Am I tripping? Possibly. But I want to say, Tommy, RG will back me up. I had this hypothesis a couple months ago, and I want to repeat this is not an accusation, but this is a hypothesis. The thing is, though, is we all saw Barry Bonds go from a 40 stolen base body type to looking like freaking the Green Hulk monster looking dude. And Julio looks jacked up as ever. So there's no body change that would signify that. This is just me connecting the dots. And am I saying this is true? No. Is it plausible? Is it possible? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I
I've been
it's
waiting.
definitely plausible. I would disagree just based on the exit velos he's putting out still. Um, I just think his launch angle. It's he's not connecting the ball where he needs to connect it, and whether it's timing because he's out in front and rolling over on it, like a couple of his hits today are just hard chopping grounders, or yeah, I mean that last one, that line drive to the right side, that thing was smoked. It's just right at the dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's just launch angles, but
Second
I'm not.
baseman made a fantastic player. He's the hero.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not plausible whatsoever because clearly there's something in the water in the DR.
Well, bring it to the water in Seattle, damn it. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care, man. Just it's tough. It's really tough. Just my only counter to it is Albert Pujols. So Albert Pujols is part of that home run derby in Los Angeles where Julio just goes ape shit and becomes a natural treasure. Albert Pujols after that went back to his old style of training and doing a batting technique called King of the Hill, where you're standing on top of the pitching mound, trying to keep your balance while you're taking batting practice. And the idea is to still stay on top of the ball, but using your body more to do that instead of the launch angle. And then Pujols went ape shit and got to the home run number that we all expected him to get to. Just it seemed like overnight. And he stopped trying to go after launch angle and went back to just hitting the baseball, and it worked for him. So I haven't been a fan of launch angle just because I think that always trying to uppercut the ball causes for a lot more damage at the plate than it does production at the plate. Like when I look at the Indians when they came to T-Mobile, and then even when we played them recently, I don't see a lot of guys taking launch angle swings. I see a lot of
Mm.
guys taking put the ball in play swings. And I believe it was Scott Rowland who said that a home run is a double gone wrong. So
Hmm.
let's just go back to simple baseball theories and just go back to putting the ball in play, hitting the ball where it's pitched. Yeah, home runs are pretty and they make the ESPN highlights, but I would much rather have a bunch of guys on the team going 2 for 4 with base hits every day than having a month with 65 home runs. I mean 60 home runs like the Orioles just had.
Yeah. And
As
to
long as we're
exact
hitting the yeah, as long as we're hitting the ball and moving guys over, we're gonna get runs.
yeah, to exactly what you're saying. I feel like that's what Julio is trying to do. I feel like he is trying to make solid contact of putting the ball in play and not a bloop pop up. I think you're hitting the nail on the head right there with what Julio is trying to do.
Yeah, Ginger, fit dad. Julio isn't pulling the ball. That's his problem. You can only get so much launch angle opposite field. I I just think he just needs to go back to hitting the ball where it's pitched and trying to put the ball in play. The rest of it'll all work out. Power comes. Power comes. Anti Mark McGuire. It takes patience for power. Would hate to see him have to go down that road to do something drastic to try to get the power back, because that's how people get caught and things get fucked up. But again, just it's tough to be in his position. It's tough to have the weight of that contract and the eyes on you and do all of that at such a young age, be slumping. Team needs you to come up. People are screaming. Your boy gets popped for roids. Just he's in a tough thing to navigate. But I just think if he just keeps trying to put the ball in play and stop trying to uppercut everything out of the yard, eventually that swing will figure itself out. I mean, he's a gifted ball player. But again, what do I know? I'm just a fan.
That we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ty, I see them wheel spinning, dog. Let's
Oh,
go.
there's just so much good shit going on, man. The hamster wheel is going so fast. I need to try to slow this thing down. And I mean, you're right too. And I keep going back to that. This is the most dominant pitching era since 1968. And Bob Gibson was so great they lowered the mound that very next off season. And so this is where I agree with RG more that may, I know it's in the most simple form, but one of the first things they're taught in baseball is short to and through. Short to and through. Because the most important part is to get the sweet spot. You can swing as hard as you possibly can, and if you don't get the sweet spot, it really doesn't mean a damn. So this is where the super advanced analytics might be fucking with his swing a little bit. Because is he like all these guys are trying so hard, at least a lot of them, for that crazy bat speed. And obviously, you need great bat speed to catch up with high 90s heat. But I mean, when you're falling over yourself, when you seem a little out of control, when it looks like you're trying too hard, and then the other huge elephant in the room to me is where's the protection? We are telling a 23-year-old that you need to carry our lineup to a World Series right now. And obviously, that plan is not working. Now, there's a ton of players underperforming. If the Mariners, as an organization, they come up and tell me, hey, Ty, you're tripping, man. Julio's not by himself. If Jorge, if both Mitches, if JP, if Ty France, if all these guys were hitting their batting card, we wouldn't be talking anything about this right now. We'd be talking about the Mariners, one of the best teams in baseball. Not all of us fans being like, can we get anybody that can hit 270? Because there isn't anyone on the team over that number right now. And I just want to go way back because someone on the live chat mentioned Ryan Bliss, getting him back in there. What's our leash on Jorge Polanco? Because Bliss is obviously a massively better fielder. He brings a ton more speed. And I'm gonna go back to a game a month or two ago. I can't even remember who it was against, but we're down by a run or two. We know our hitting's struggling. Speed kills, and speed really enhances the bad lineup. Julio hits a little dribbler. The third baseman rushes his throw, throws it into right field. We have Clase on Bliss on. Every single guy sprinting around the bases looking like T-ball. They're rounding so many bases on one air. But this is where, if you can't hit, let's put some speed in there and at least try to figure out different ways to score runs because it's not working right now, clearly.
I love me some. I love me some Jonathan Class, baby. Since that fucking speed show he put on in spring training, man, I've been a fan of him and Bliss as well too. Just we're not getting production from anyone in the lineup that's not named Cal or Luke Riley right now, and that's just unfortunate. I mean, Victor Robles, you could look at his baseball card, and that's just like a typical Mariner signing, and he really hasn't. I mean, he's done what he is. He's brought to the table what he is. But what he is isn't enough to get us over the hump. I think that all options should be looked at. I think that there should be heavy discussions going on right now on who's protected, who's not, who can we move forward with. I wouldn't mind seeing some moves be made. And the one thing that as we move forward is even in the next season is going to start to trip me a little bit. Cal's up. Cal's gonna be up soon. And Cal's a Boris agent. That ain't gonna be friendly, especially if he's carrying us the way that he is. So now is the time. Like, we need to strike while the iron's hot. But again, how long is the short? How long is the leash on Polanco? When do we look at seeing what we could maybe get out of a Mitch and Polanco? We're gonna have to lose an arm. We're not gonna be able to make any type of move without doing something to our pitching staff. So who becomes expendable on the pitching staff? Just we're it seems like we're so close and yet still so far away and trying to bandage this thing together and more of these reclamation projects where we hope someone can get back to their form for 2 3 years ago just doesn't isn't seeming to work out for us. We could be pissing away a golden opportunity to be able to make some noise here, and I just really hope that
Mhm.
that's not the case.
Yep, I agree with all that. I think, I mean, yeah, they're gonna give Polanco every shot he can have coming back from injury, and all the capital they gave up in trading him. Um, I hope his leash is short. I hope he has till the end of the deadline, and I hope he figures it out or a move is made because I love Bliss. I love Bliss. I love Clase. Like them back to back on the bases. That's a good time. That was fun to watch. And Bliss, he's fun to watch on defense. Clase, he's fun to watch in the outfield. And him and Julio side by side, there's not a ball getting dropped between the two of them.
Mhm.
Um, Clase is bad. I mean, yeah, it wasn't really translating at first, so he still needs time to develop that. But I feel like Bliss is there. Bliss is he's a rookie, and I feel like he's been a pretty successful rookie, and I'd like him to get more playing time. So if that means Polanco gets shipped out, so be it. I think it's going to be harder to get rid of Garver just because of the contract and the lack thereof production. So why not ride him out as our backup catcher? I mean, it's expensive backup catcher, but I think he's fine there.
Anything to keep Ty from seeing more Zevi Zavala. Anything that keeps Ty from
Yeah.
seeing more Zevi Zavala, we're probably all with.
Yeah,
Shout out
but
to people following along with us in the chat. Let me interject here real quick. Ginger Fit Dad, first thing to do is fire Delhart. He will never be a good hitting coach, and the offense gets worse every year with him. Have we reached the point where the juice isn't worth the squeeze? And if that's the case, why do we keep bringing that guy back? Garver just looks like he doesn't
mm,
give a damn. Frustrating. I don't know if I can say that because he's
yeah.
having good at bats with the walks that he's having, where he's just not putting the ball in play as often as we would like him to. But like Jerry says, when he does get the ball in play, it's the most effortless swing that we've probably seen in a very long time up in Seattle. Just some issues are just oh man, just it's either everything at once or nothing at all. It seems like it's man, Jerry, man, what else you think about where we stand, man? If we do have to come up and someone has to be on the chopping block, which arm are you gonna be okay with? Even if it doesn't make you okay and it makes you uncomfortable, like I said, I just don't see us being able to make a move for anybody without getting rid of an arm, especially not an impact player. What do you think?
Guess it depends. I mean, at this point, I kind of would be okay with dealing Castillo. I know it's not a super favorable contract to get rid of. It might not get the best return, but if it could get a favorable bat, probably him. Other than that, the favorable contract pitchers, probably Miller. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get anything for Wu just because of his injury stints this year. Um, unless we could sell someone on the potential, because obviously he's shown when he's healthy, he's dominant. But probably Miller would be the one I'd be easiest with letting go of, and then hardest probably Kirby. I don't want to get rid of
Hmm.
Gilbert. I really don't want to get rid of Gilbert.
Oh,
Man,
we
I'm
can't.
a LOG, the OG fan, man. I think that guy's our ace. Just going back here to the chat real quick. Mariners Lifer says, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like a DH that is always looking to walk. I don't think that he's always looking to walk. I think he's just dancing with what brought him to the dance right now. And in order to be able to get himself out of his slump, his eye at the plate seems to be helping him. So I don't think that he's constantly looking just to be able to walk, but it's serious being able to help him get on base. Ginger Fit Dad, I don't think we need to get rid of an arm. We just have to be okay with losing Emerson or Young. Interesting point. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I just don't see how it could happen. But again, it's not up to me to make that decision.
And I'm
Mariners Lifer, losing any of our five starters is an L. Jerry, what you got, man?
no, I'm 100% there. Like if we can do anything without getting rid of pitching, I'm okay with it. I mean, maybe Emerson or Logan Evans, that area, fine. But if we're taking from our starting rotation, I uh I would rather not do it because I agree that that is our strength. We do not want to take from our strength to add to our weakness. So if we can keep our strength and deal from stuff that are unknowns, like Cole Young's and Colt Emerson's, to bring in the proven bats to strengthen our weaknesses. So that way our strength is getting supplemented by building up our weakness. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, man. I'm I always use the Christopher Rizzo quote on this show that prospects are suspect until they actually get on a major league field and actually perform. So if we have to lose some of that, what are we now? The third best farm system in Major League Baseball. If we have to lose some of that to be able to get someone to get us to the World Series, pack their asses up and send them the fuck out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm a okay with that. I don't want to see us lose anyone off of our starting pitching staff. If we do, for me, I'd be okay with Miller. Um, I think that guy does have a lot of potential for it. I don't want to see anybody get traded from our starting rotation. But if we had to get somebody, I say we give Miller, we give a couple prospects and see what we can go out and get with that. Maybe add Polanco to the deal if he's movable in any way. Maybe add a Mitch to the deal if he's movable in any way. Um, but we got to do something, man. We're just not going to get it done the way that we're currently constructed.
I agree.
Yeah, I hear you. So when you're talking about tradable assets there, RG, I think the Mitches are both basically untradeable right now.
Mm.
Jerry referenced that Mitch Garver has what 11 or 12 million dollars guaranteed next year. Mitch
Ooh.
Haniger has like a $17 million player option next year. Both Mitches are basically untradeable unless you want to offer premier prospects just for another team to take that money. That doesn't seem to make sense to me right now. You said Jorge Polanco. I think he actually is a tradable asset just because he has a $13 million team option next year. So a team that's looking to rebuild, reset, and cut some payroll. We talked about this before. We see it in the NBA all the time, where a rebuilding team will just trade for an expiring contract. All right, yeah, we'll take that, dude. I mean, we just want to shed our payroll. We want to open up flexibility. So that's a great option right there. And then I'm with you. Trade prospects. I mean, more often than not, the guy is going to turn into Jose Cruz Jr., not Alex Rodriguez. More often than not, that guy is going to turn into Dominic Canzone and not Kyle Tucker. Now, I know it's risky. I know it's playing a little bit of a gamble game, but a proven major leaguer is way less risk than a prospect, and even the top ranked prospects will fail 50% of the time in baseball. It's that difficult of a sport at the very, very highest level in the major leagues because we don't want to trade our starting pitching, and we can't just always expect teams aren't going to do video game trades. I always say we can't just give you a pile of expensive players batting below 200 and expect to get some quality stud difference maker in return. Is Canzone tradable, Mariners lifer? I think he is tradable, but do we want to trade him? Now, here's the thing. He would be a great piece to throw in if we got a Ty O'Neill or a Brent Roker. Those are two guys I am super high on the Mariners trading for because they're both corner outfielders. So you take away a spot there. Julio's not going anywhere. Luke Rayleigh has earned every single at bat he's going to get this year. And so that actually might kind of be a win-win for Canzone personally and the team if we can make that happen. And just scrolling up here, Mariners Lifer noticed my Edgar Martinez street sign behind me, and I'm a UPS driver Monday through Friday, and I made a delivery at the thrift store on my route one day, and they, for whatever reason, had a bunch of Mariners stuff at the thrift store in the front of the store. I saw that sign, and I did not leave my delivery until I purchased that sign. So it was definitely just meant to be. I'm sure you could find it on the internet or something like that somewhere, but that was one of those just golden opportunities that was perfect. And like my wife mentioned on the chat, she found it in the garage and brought it in last week, and so it's here to stay in the background. I mean, is there not a Mariners fan that doesn't love Edgar? If you don't love Edgar, I would wager you're not a Mariners fan.
Not a real one.
Edgar, Griffey, Jay Buhner.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
you don't rock with them kick rocks. Uh, now, so just some food for thought. Um, Ginger Fit Dad, Roker would just be a permanent DH because his fielding is really bad. Ty, stand up for your boy.
Well, I think that makes sense on totality just when I look at the stats because you see the A's play, but it's hard to really follow an outfielder's play unless you see them every day because he's at a 1.8 war, but his hitting statistics are phenomenal. He always kicks our ass when we play. He's on one of the shittiest teams in baseball at 264 with 15 home runs. He also has a freaking OPS of 856 and an OPS plus of 147. Oh my lord. Even if he sucks in the field, I would take him in left field over most of who we've been throwing out there lately. And if he's a permanent DH, that's fine by me. To me, we're that desperate for hitting. And you guys have both said it. We're missing a golden opportunity here. This is literally the best pitching staff this franchise has ever put together. It's probably the best starting pitching staff in all of baseball. If they weren't that great, we would be cellar dwellers wondering about who are we going to trade in terms of veterans to acquire prospects. So if you want someone a little more well-rounded, then Ty O'Neill is your guy, and I think he makes sense from the ownership side too. It sucks for baseball ops because Tyler O'Neill will be a rental. He's an upcoming free agent, but the dude has freaking 16 home runs and 876 OPS and has won two Gold Gloves in his career. So I think he's like a $5 or $6 million player this year. Halfway through the season ownership, you only have to pay $2.5 million for a dude that might be able to be a difference maker for the ball club. So Roker and Ty O'Neill are at the top of my list. There's several Devil Rays that I really like also, and because they might be selling, and they're a poor team. The Mariners I would consider lower middle class. Mariners are a lower middle class team, but we can still try to rip some shit away from the hearts of some poor teams, and that's what I'm hoping we do here. And you're right, Jerry. I'm nervous about Yandy Diaz because his stats have gone down a little bit this year. But I mean, he's a guy that's had like a 400 on base percentage in the last couple years. Is there a Mariner that's even in that galaxy for reaching base? Isak Paredes, Randy Arena's stats might suck on totality this year, but he's been on fire in the month of June apparently. And Ahmed Rosario, that's the other guy. He doesn't hit for power, but like RG was saying, maybe, and you were saying also, Jerry, can we get a bunch of guys that can just hit? At this point, honestly, fellas, I don't give a shit if he's a power hitter or an Ichiro slap hitter. We just need frickin' guys that get on base and can manufacture some damn runs one way or the other.
Mm. Because we're fans of baseball and Texas Power Ranger happen to be rocking with us tonight, I'm gonna throw you a bone. I won't ever do this again. Well, I will just because I like baseball overall in general. But we do need to get a shout out to Rangers rookie Wyatt Langford, homered in the eighth to complete the first cycle this year in Major League Baseball. For a rookie to be able to come in and do something like that, dog, I guess is pretty impressive. Of course, it
That's
has to
cool.
be someone in the AL West who we're competing against. Texas Power Rangers, you probably is having fun somewhere cheering for it. It's good to see things like that in baseball. Just brings more fans to the game, gives us more talking points to talk about. Uh, yeah, man. Shout out to you, Mr. Wyatt. Hope you have a good night, and hope the Rangers continue to suck from here on out. Ginger's fit dad says I take Jazz Chisholm or De La Cruz too from the Marlins. Oh man, would
Hell
I
yeah.
would I would like to
Yeah.
see us do something like that. I know we were talking a couple weeks ago uh, about how Jazz Chisholm was standing on second having a conversation with one of the Mariners. He would look really good in that Mariner uniform. But again, I don't know what it would take to get a player like him up there. And part of my biggest fear right now too is just getting someone else who's just not going to perform.
Yeah. I mean, you're right to feel that way, especially because we opened up the show talking about guys that have hit their entire careers and completely fall apart when they get to Seattle. So I get that, man. But at the same token, scared money don't make money. And this is the
at all.
Seattle Mariners, man. At some point, we got to try to make some moves here. We have seven of the top 100 prospects in baseball. One of those is not Felnin Celestin, who might have the highest ceiling of all these guys. Like two, three, four of these guys are freaking shortstops. JP Crawford is not a free agent till 2027. And so, yeah, in a perfect world, one of these shortstops like Colt or Young or any of these guys, maybe they come up, they push JP to second base for his last couple years in his early 30s, and everything's beautiful. But what I'm saying is there's a roadblock. And when there's guys being blocked, that's great opportunities to trade them as a win-win because okay, we can trade. Oh, I can't remember. Caballero. We talked about this a few weeks ago. The organization knowing they had Ryan Bliss. So Caballero is now expendable because we have Ryan Bliss behind him, plus Young, Emerson, etc., even higher ceiling guys behind Bliss. So now we can move Caballero, bring in a solid corner outfielder in Luke Rayleigh, and when you have blocked guys, that's when you make the moves to improve in other areas. I couldn't agree more from Ginger Fit Dad, Jazz Chisholm. I'm a big fan of 10 home runs, what a 756 OPS. And y'all know when you grow up in the house of Ken Griffey Jr., you're always a sucker for power speed combos. Jazz Chisholm in the 97th percentile in base running value. He's in the 83rd percentile in sprint speed and the 81st percentile in barrel rate. This is an all around baseball player on a shitty team who has positional versatility. Lord knows that feels like we have 800 guys that play that kind of way. But we need to get in where you fit in. If you can hit and then also play multiple positions, just makes it easier to try to figure out this lineup. And before I toss it back to y'all, I actually want to give a shout out to Scott Service because what he's trying to do is extremely difficult. He gets criticized because he's changing the lineup all the time, but you have to try to change the lineup when your guys can't hit a damn. I'm as big a Lou Pinella fan as there is, but his job was vastly easier than Scott Service's right now. Those lineups, I remember Lou Pinella when Ken Griffey Jr. got inducted to the Hall of Fame. I saw a great interview with Lou, and his quote was, "It was really easy for me to just pen in Ken Griffey Jr. as my third hitter every day." And you have Jr., you have Edgar, you have Buhner, you have Tino, you have Ichiro, you have Olerud. You have Brett Boone looking like the Incredible Hulk with maybe the greatest offensive season the second baseman's ever had. So shout out to Scott Service because is he perfect? Absolutely not. But he has a mess of a lineup to try to figure out every single night.
I'm with you on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's shift gears. Talk about moving forward, man. Can't do anything about the way that this week's gone. We definitely let Texas and Houston gain some ground on us. Fell kind of back a little bit in run differential, but we just got to move forward. It's a new month here in 5 hours, 6, 7 hours, depending on what time zone you're following us from. So let's take a little bit of a leap forward and talk about July a little bit. We do have the Baltimore Orioles coming in, and it looks like we're going to send our boy George Kirby to the hill on Tuesday. Orioles are going to counter with Grayson Rodriguez. Grayson Rodriguez is 93 with a 3.72 ERA overall, but in his last three appearances, he has an ERA of 5.21, has given up 21 hits, 18 strikeouts, and three walks. If there's a pitcher on their staff that we might be able to have a get right game against, it looks like Mr. Rodriguez over his last three starts may be a perfect candidate for that, unless it's time for him to have a get right game against us. How do you foresee some of this series against the Orioles going? I know Gunnar Henderson hates us and just does nothing but hit bombs against us. He also announced that he's going to the home run derby. Uh, Hopefully his wing happens to fall off while he's in the Pacific Northwest this week. But we it's not going to get easier for us as we continue to go down the stretch. Do you see us being able to have any type of productivity against the Orioles this week, Jerry?
I think we'll be lucky if we get one win against these guys, based on how we're hitting. But ideally, we want two. So I'm gonna say we're gonna get two because we're at home versus being Camden Yards. So hopefully that plays to our advantage with our pitching because our pitching plays to contact, and hopefully a lot of those Gunnar Henderson fly balls stay in the yard. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough matchup. Our We're gonna need to rely on our pitching more than anything. That's for sure. And hopefully we can scrape out a few runs each game.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're gonna have Kirby on the mound Tuesday, the LOG, the OG Logan Gilbert on the hill on Wednesday. Kirby in his last outing against him didn't really fare so well. He had a 1.17 ERA against the Orioles in all of 2023, and in his most recent appearance against the Orioles on May 19th, gave up 5 runs in 6 innings. So we definitely need him to have a better outing than that in order to be able to find a way to stop the bleeding. Ty, throw something to me, boy.
Well, let's do it. I mean, I understand the trepidation of a lot of these fans on the live chat right now, but you know what? If you, it's time for us to play. You know I'm gonna say it right now, Archie. You know what I'm gonna say. It's time to play with some piss and vinegar, man. It's
Yep,
time to really get after it, dude. And what's really tough though is baseball. You can try harder in the field, but when you actually try harder at the dish, more times than not, it goes awry. And that's why baseball's so tough, is because you want to grip the bat tighter. You want to swing out of your shoes, but that's usually when you swing at balls and strike out more often. So it's a really fine line between coming out with an aggressive dirtbag sort of mentality while also being disciplined and kind of serene at the plate, to be honest. But it's a good match. It's a good match right now. I mean, we have our two best pitchers going. They've both been pretty phenomenal lately, and I'm a ride with it. I think we're gonna win 2 out of 3. We're gonna win the Kirby and Gilbert start. But it's so funny you said that, RG. Rodriguez struggling lately. The first thing in my brain is like, oh, he's got a get right game coming. But that's where we
that's right.
gotta put down the hammer, man. We gotta put down the dude. It's put up or shut up time though, man. There's
It is.
these players aren't dumb. They know that the entire lineup for the most part is expendable right now. And do you think these guys want to have to move their families mid-season? No. So let's get it done, fellas. Let's get it done, man. They're just a baseball team. They're just a baseball team. They put on their shoes. They tie them one leg at a time with their pants, man. I know that they have maybe the best young hitters in baseball. Dude is like 26 home runs, breathing down Aaron Judge's back for the home run crown this year. I don't give a shit, man. Sometimes you just got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, "Am I going to get down with these dogs?" And it's time, fellas. It's time.
The show. Mariners Lifer had a question for you, Jerry.
I
You
saw
said that
that.
you'd rather see Castillo traded versus Kirby or Gilbert. What do you think his value would be? A proven bat plus prospects is his question.
Yeah, I think a good partner for that one would probably be what Tyler would like to see with the Cardinals. Get Tyler O'Neill involved. Maybe I don't know, someone else on their roster, Donovan or something, and then we throw in some prospects along with it. I'm not sure what the value would be with his contract. I know his contract is pretty favorable as far as top starting pitcher goes, but definitely seems like he's fallen off for our Mariners standards at least.
Yes, sir, man. Uh, I also saw a new name in the chat, Mr. Emmett Brown. Thanks for rocking with us here on My Old Minds, another sports podcast. We're always happy to have new members join the chat. Fans talking baseball, man, is what we are. We all ride or die with the Seattle Mariners, and they've been making sure that we suffer over the last 2 weeks. But we're happy to have you and your opinions here in the chat. Ginger Fit Dad said another good player to get would be Lamont Wade Jr. Any thoughts on Lamont Wade Jr.? I believe he's a Giant, right?
I'm unfamiliar.
Man, I'd be lying if I say I watch a lot of Giants baseball lately. That's for sure.
Well, let's see if we can find him here in the technology machine. Here, Lamont Wade Jr. What you got for us?
Well, while RG's looking at that right now, I just want to piggyback for Jerry and trading Castillo. Is I think that I still think Luis Castillo actually has a pretty significant amount of trade value, to be honest. But the problem is the only teams that would want him would be winning teams. So I don't know if that would be a good trade partner because with his contract and his age, I don't think a rebuilding team would want Castillo. But man, don't make me say it. I'm sure that the New York Yankees would love to have him. Shit, I totally forgot. The New York Yankees were hella pissed at the Mariners 2 years ago
Oh, we
when
got him.
we were the ones that acquired Castillo because the Yankees were after his ass hard at that time. So I don't know how likely, but I still think Castillo has significant value just only to a winning team. And shit, if the Mariners completely fall apart, dude, before the trade deadline and we somehow plummet, end up below 500, that might be a really good trade piece, but I sure as shit hope that it doesn't go that route.
All right, I got some information on Mr. Lamont Wade Jr. for you. In 138 at bats this year, uh, 45 hits, and is currently hitting 326. But again, that's only in 135 at bats this year. Today, 5 at bats, 1 hit versus the Dodgers. First baseman. I don't know if that's the guy that we go after. I don't know if that's the guy that we go after. If he had more of a sample size with more at bats this year and was hitting 326, be all over something like him. Be all over him. But yeah, he just really hasn't done enough. And again, just for my liking, I'll never tell anybody they're wrong in their opinion. We're all entitled to our own. I just don't want us to go after any more of these guys who were good 2, 3 years ago, and then hoping they can find a way to turn the corner when they get here, i.e., Luis Reyes, who we signed.
Hmm. Shout out to Emmett Brown dropping some knowledge and questions out here for everyone on the live chat. Who is the bulldog or enforcer who's going to charge the mound? And I kind of agree with Sunday Evening Media. I don't know if we necessarily have that guy, and that sucks because I think that kind of person is needed on any ball club. Cal, I could see him possibly rolling like that, except I think he could kick some ass, but he seems kind of mild mannered. I think that Mitch Garver, if he thought that someone was actually going at his head, I think he seems like the guy that might run out there. And
Of
although
course,
it's
because
not
we
the
from Albuquerque.
damn right,
Here comes
hey,
San
don't mess
Cinco.
with that. But he's not the biggest guy, and it doesn't have to be the biggest guy that charges the mound necessarily. I don't know if I ever seen Jorge Polanco smile on the baseball field. And I think that guy's got a little bit of edge to him, which is also why I wanted him so much and was so excited when we traded for him. Obviously, it hasn't worked out. Obviously, it's been a disaster. But hindsight's 2020, and I think Polanco's got a little bit of edge to him. And you know, I don't want to say a brawl is going to turn your season around, but I mean, no, it kind of did a couple of years ago. A galvanizing
Didn't it?
force, but
Didn't it?
so yeah, I mean, I
I could,
don't want to say it, but you got to say it, you know?
I could definitely see it being Polanco. His eyes. He looks like he wants to throw hands at all times.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, not the biggest guy, but we all remember Rougned Odor, man, at second base. One of maybe the best connection I've ever seen in a sports fight. Definitely not the biggest dude. So it's what is
I
it they
don't
always say?
know. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I'm
Give
going
it
to
to us.
say I'm going to say the best connection in a recent baseball fight was Jose Ramirez on Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson, Tim Anderson was night night before he hit the ground. The ground woke Tim Anderson up.
Yeah, you got me. You got me on that one.
Yeah, okay, well.
Absolutely, RG.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Jerry B6 been rocking with us here on My Oh My. It's another sports podcast brought to you by Vaden Podcast Services. Big shout out to Ty Talks 24, repping us from the Northwest. Shout out to all of you following us on the chat. Don't forget, we're still giving away that Julio Rodriguez Funko. We are now entering the month of July. We're going to rock this thing until the end of the trade deadline at the end of the month. All you have to do is just help us spread the word about this podcast. Tell people to come join us here each and every Sunday on YouTube and Twitch. Or if they can't join us on YouTube and Twitch, get them to follow us on our socials, my oh my ASP. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, the TikTok. You might find Tyler doing a dance. You might find Jerry B twerking. That's how we gonna do it out here, man. For those of you who don't use any of those and you still want to catch the show, you can catch a fresh download on what we talked about each and every Tuesday on your favorite platforms where you download and listen to podcasts at. Jerry, man, it's always a blast having you, man. You
Always
got
a
any
good time.
closing thoughts for tonight, man?
Nah, I just hope this next week goes a lot better than the last couple. Let's hope for some wins. We need some wins. We need to build some momentum going into this trade deadline.
Sure do. We sure do. Todd Talks, man. You get all your shit off today, bro. I know you got an extensive notepad. And the most
I
important
do.
thing is that I let you ride through that notepad every day, baby. What you got for me?
Hey, man, we basically covered it all. And a lot of my notes I just take during the week. I take screenshots with my cell phone, and it's all just because we want to be able to have fun out here. But you got to drop a little knowledge now and then. But I just want to give a huge shout out to Jerry. It is fantastic to have you on with us, and a giant shout out to everyone on the live chat. Y'all, I have this notebook full of notes, but y'all don't even know how much content you are bringing us. If you want to be on the show like Jerry is right now, slide up in those DMs. My oh my ASP Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Slide up in those DMs, man, and we would love to put you in the same spot that Jerry is right now. But thank you so much. We want to be the most interactive sports show in the game. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. Mariners Lifer says always a good time catching the stream. Bring Jerry back again. Jerry can be on this show as much as he wants to, man. Anytime, anytime. He's
Anytime.
one of the best people I've ever met on Bleacher Report. I'm glad he's still rocking with us and always wanted to be a part of the show. And those of you as well too. Don't forget, man, slide in the DM, let us know your availability. If you want to join and be a part, hey, we're always happy to have you. Some of those guys at Root Sports are paid to give a damn about the Mariners. We're all true to the blue, man, and we just like talking sports and everything, man. Tommy says you guys got a new subscriber in me. Happy to have you, Mr. T. Right on with us each and every week, man. Always Munoz 2024. Hey, man, I'd rather vote for Munoz than those two old bastards we got right now. This ain't a political
100%.
podcast either. Absolutely, I'd rather vote for Pedro. Fuck it. Let's go, man.
Oh, Pedro.
Again, Again, that's your man Jerry B6 been riding with us tonight, man. We're happy to have him with us. I couldn't do this without my man Ty Talks 24 holding it down the Pacific Northwest. Fading Car Podcast Services presents My Old My. It's another sports podcast. We do want to give a shout out to our super producer Indy on the ones and twos, making it sound like $1,000,000. Our social media director Katie Matsumoto. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for being an intricate part of the team. We couldn't do this without you. And most importantly, the people who ride and listen and interact with us. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have a format or anything to talk about. We wish you all a good week. Hope you have a good 4th of July. I got my flag behind me up at the top is the flag that draped my grandfather's casket. So we want to make sure that we give a shout out to all of those who helped fight for this independence as we get ready to celebrate Independence Day. Again, go everybody, go out, have fun, be safe. Uber if you're gonna drink. Uh, Make sure you go to Taco Bell if you're gonna smoke. Grab you a Tylenol if you're gonna keep following the Mariners this year. You may need it. Again, that's my man Ty Talks 24, Jerry B6. I'm RG each and every week. Thank you for joining my oh my. It's another sports podcast.